Google Pixel 10 Pro Fold is finally here, and although it looks almost identical to last year's Pixel 9 Pro Fold, there are some notable upgrades worth highlighting. In this video, we'll be running through each of those upgrades and comparing the Pixel 10 Pro Fold to its biggest competition in all the areas that matter. So, let's get into it. If you were to put the Pixel 10 Pro Fold next to its predecessor, you'd honestly have a hard time differentiating the two. And in fact, the newer phone is a few millimeters thicker when folded and unfolded. The Pixel 9 Pro Fold was one of the thinnest foldable phones around. So in principle, it's hard to criticize Google for making a more refined, more durable version of that phone in the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. Unfortunately, in the interim, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 arrived and redefined what we expect from a foldable phone. It's both thinner and lighter than Google's latest effort, as are pretty much all of the Chinese-made foldables available in other markets. But dimensions aside, the 10 Pro Fold does have a more eye-catching design than a lot of its rivals. It's got gently curved corners, rounded edges, and a beautifully machined camera block, with color options that are among the best on the market. The Pixel 10 Pro Fold is also the only foldable at the time of recording to boast an IP68 rating, which means its hinge and ports are protected against dust and sand. That's probably not enough of a reason to buy Pixel's foldable over others, but Google deserves kudos where it's due. Both of the displays on the Pixel 10 Pro Fold are excellent. Specifically, you'll get a 6.4-inch 120Hz OLED on the outside and an 8-inch 120Hz OLED on the inside. That outer screen is pretty much the same display as you'll find on the non-folding Pixel 10 Pro. It's the exact same size and resolution, unlike the Galaxy Z Fold 7, which still uses an unusually narrow cover display. As a result, it feels natural to use the front screen on the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, whereas on the Samsung, the front display is more like an appetizer for the big main course inside. Mind you, the inner screen on the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is also enormous. It's a great display for reading, while web pages get blown up so much bigger than on a normal flat phone that it's an entirely better experience. The camera also has more dual screen features than any other app, so you'll enjoy snapping pictures using the Pixel 10 Pro Fold in its unfolded form. First things first, we are huge fans of Google's Pixel software, from the way it handles notifications to the way it screens phone calls to find out who's calling and why. The latest Android 16 version of the Pixel interface is gorgeous yet refined, with bubbly clocks and other widgets that change color to match your wallpaper, then get subtly darker as the sun goes down. And we're just scratching the surface here. We really like what Google is doing with Pixel. As for what Google is doing with the Pixel 10 Pro Fold specifically, not so much. There just isn't that much here that takes advantage of the 10 Pro Fold's extended screen. During our testing, we couldn't find a single widget that would span the entirety of the phone's display. Take the calendar app for instance. You can place a widget showing an entire month, but it will only occupy one side of the bigger screen. You can't stretch it any further. This is convenient when you close your phone and only have half of the area to work with, but it would be nice to get a handful of full screen widgets to really take advantage of the Pixel 10 Pro in unfolded mode. Again, that's not to say that Google's software is bad. It's actually quite the opposite. Instead, we just want to see more features that make the Pixel 10 Pro Fold feel truly special. Right now, it's easier to recommend the cheaper Pixel 10 Pro if you're keen on Pixel phones for their cutting-edge software. And you should be, because that's what Pixel phones are all about. In the past, we might have been more forgiving of subpar camera hardware on a foldable phone, but Samsung had to destroy expectations by slapping its full-grown 200 megapixel sensor on the Galaxy Z Fold 7. So now we want all $2,000 foldables to deliver similarly excellent camera specs, and the Pixel 10 Pro Fold kind of delivers here. Google's latest foldable uses the same sensors as last year's 9 Pro Fold. You'll get a 48 megapixel main lens, a 10.5 megapixel ultra-wide lens, and a 10.8 megapixel telephoto lens with 5x optical zoom. What we do like about the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is that Google seems to be carefully tuning its Pixel cameras so that they produce images that all look alike. A photo taken with the Pixel 10 Pro XL will have the same color balance and lighting as a photo taken with the Pro Fold. And that's a good thing, because we love the images you can get from Google's latest non-folding phones. The problems start to arise when you zoom in close. Google applies a heavy dose of AI enhancement to its photos, and when you zoom in on a photo, especially ones taken at night, it can look smoothed out and painted over. On the phone's display, images look clearer than they might do on something like the Galaxy Z Fold 7, but when you zoom in, that clarity starts to look a tad artificial. Still, if you don't need the absolute best photos from your smartphone camera, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold does have a fascinating new pixel feature that could make you a better all-round photographer. When you have your shot lined up, instead of pressing the shutter, press the camera coach button, and Google will use its AI software to analyze your photo and offer advice. And it's not just simple advice either. Camera coach is more like an AI instructor. First, it gives you 3 or 4 suggested themes for your photos. Then it takes you step by step through the shot. It highlights the right camera mode to select, and it tells you where to move for the best angle. In the end, it really did help us take better photos if we were willing to take the time to walk through the steps. Camera Coach is one of Google's newest and most advanced AI features, and it's something you won't find on any other folding phone at the time of recording. Pixel phones aren't known for top performance, and the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is unimpressive if you rely on benchmark scores alone. In our real-world testing, we found the Pixel 10 Pro Fold to be smooth and responsive, especially when switching between apps back and forth between the outer and inner displays. But that doesn't mean there weren't hiccups. Google's biggest performance offense is letting the camera lag. If you have too many features enabled, the camera shutter button will stop working between one photo and the next while the phone thinks about what to do. This happened to us fewer times on the Pixel 10 Pro Fold than on the Pixel 10 Pro, but that's probably because the Fold doesn't have as many megapixels to count. We also saw things slow down considerably when we tried to use some of Google's new AI features. Perhaps someday these AI tools will be a natural extension of the Android OS, but for now, using them feels like an event with a line out front and a bouncer who has to check your name off a list. This isn't an experience killer, but hopefully we'll see these response times improve as more AI tasks are handled on the phone itself. We'll start this section by saying that Google makes it especially easy to charge the Pixel 10 Pro Fold on the go. The company's Pixel Snap magnetic charging technology means the Pro Fold is the first foldable that will stick to existing MagSafe charging gear without a special case. And that makes a difference if you've already got a load of wireless chargers lying around. Magnets aside, the battery life on the Pixel 10 Pro Fold isn't terrible, but a smaller battery is the second sacrifice that every foldable makes, after the cameras. Well, the phone actually has a 5050 mAh battery, which is pretty large, but having two displays will drain that juice quickly. In our lab test, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold lasted 12 hours and 16 minutes. The Galaxy Z Fold 7 lasted only 10 hours and 44 minutes, but remember that the Pixel Fold comes with an ounce more weight and an extra millimeter around the waistline. It's also worth noting that the iPhone 17 Pro Max is thinner than a closed Pixel Fold, weighs more than an ounce less, and managed 5.5 extra hours of battery time in our testing. So whichever way you slice it, you're still making a big battery life sacrifice by choosing a Fold over a regular smartphone. Overall then, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is a very good phone in some areas and a big compromise in others. It's extremely expensive and you don't get the best battery life, the best cameras, or the best performance for that money. What you do get are two beautiful displays, industry-leading software, and a handful of foldable firsts in that IP68 rating and compatibility with magnetic charging accessories. For most people, the non-folding Pixel 10 Pro is probably the better option, but if you're convinced by the foldable form factor and you're willing to embrace AI, then you won't be let down by the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. Do you like the look of Google's latest foldable? Let us know in the comments. And for the latest deals on the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, check out the description below.